Ariel Helwani at the UFC gym in Concord, California, getting ready for UFC 117 live on pay-per-view this Saturday night, and we are being joined by the UFC middleweight champion who has brought out a new microphone this time. Anderson Silva, of course, faces Chael Sonnen. Has he lit a fire under you for this fight?
No.
Not literally, but...
No fire.
Nah, no fire on his body, says.
And which Anderson Silva will we see? Will we see the one that we saw against Forrest, the one that we saw against maybe Patrick Cote, the one against Damian Maia? Can you tell us which Anderson we will see?
Não sei.
He said, well, I'm not too sure, but I think you're going to see the Anderson that fought Chael.
Chael, how are you? How you been?
Awesome, buddy. Thank you.
It's been an interesting ride for you up to this point. Have you enjoyed it? You know, just getting ready for the fight, the media, and just this is some might say the biggest fight of your life.
Oh, it's the worst. It's the worst. There's a lot to do, and it affects my sleep pattern. I've been doing shows on the East Coast at 7 a.m. I live on the West Coast, so I'm in the studio at 4 a.m., which means I'm up by 3 a.m., so I look like I'm awake. No, it's been very hard. Yeah.
Has it been a nuisance?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you feel as though you've had to sort of carry the promotion and keep people interested, especially after what Anderson did at 112?
Yeah, I mean, it's the way it should be. Nobody cares about Anderson Silva. Nobody buys his merchandise. He's the worst selling pay-per-view draw in the history of the UFC Championship division. He doesn't talk to the fans. He doesn't talk to the media. He pretends he doesn't speak English. This is the way it should be. It should be the Chael Sonnen show. I'm the one they're tuning in to see. I'm the one that's selling out the arena, not him. So, yeah, I do feel that way, but that is the way it should be.
Do you feel as though at any point Sonnen has crossed the line with the things he said about Anderson?
I think Chael Sonnen crossed the line 2 fights ago. I mean, Chael Sonnen has always talked like this. I mean, before a fight, he says some crazy and I think right now people are just noticing it because he's the main event.
Well, when he came into the UFC, he wasn't this outspoken. I mean, what can you attribute this to? The fact that he's kind of just taken this and ran with this quote-unquote persona?
I don't know about that. I think he has been. I think he has been, and people just haven't noticed. You know, it's been 3 fights for me that I've noticed him saying crazy stuff, but it never caught the public or the media's attention. I saw it. I saw it in the Marquardt fight, and I saw it in the fight before that.
Okay, on the flip side, you got Anderson Silva, and of course we know what happened at UFC 112. What is your relationship like with him now?
Well, before we get into that, the thing about Chael Sonnen too is all the crazy stuff that he's saying and all the stuff that's kind of overshadowing the fight itself. I think that, you know, if you look at his last couple of fights, when he was going into that Nate Marquardt fight, I was like, there's no way this kid wins this fight. I just don't see how Chael beats him anywhere. And Chael put it to Nate. The crazier thing about what this guy says is I think he 100% believes it. He believes everything that he says. And I think that he's going to go in there and go after Anderson on Saturday.
Okay, now back to Anderson. What's your relationship like with him now?
Yeah, my relationship with Anderson is fine. I have a good relationship with him. I respect him as a fighter. I'm still the one out there saying he's the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. I think that you know, he's the most talented guy on earth with 2 arms and 2 legs. I see pure genius in his fighting abilities, man. The stuff that he does and the things that he's able to pull off, you know, I was just very unhappy with the way he acted in his last fight.
Well, at the end of the day, do you think all this talk has been a positive thing for Sonnen or negative? In other words, has he lit a fire under Anderson? Because if you look at the stare down right here, I mean, Anderson clearly looks pissed off.
I think what we've learned about Anderson Silva, though, is that he's going to punch you in the face no matter what. It's almost as if you get him mad, then there's a greater chance that he'll only punch you in the face enough to keep you around for 5 rounds. I mean, he seemed to really like Forrest Griffin, had nothing against Forrest Griffin, and beat him up very badly. So it's not as if that's going to save you physically one way or another. As far as whether it's been good for Sonnen, it's gotten him a lot of attention. It's good in the short term. If that's your goal, is to have people look at you, and if you don't care what they're thinking when they're looking at you, then yeah, it's been good for him. What I wonder is, where do you go from here? Win or lose?
Okay, so now let's strip away all the hype, all the trash talk. Does Chael Sonnen have a shot?
Of course he has a shot. I mean, Chael Sonnen's a tough guy. You saw what he did to Nate Marquardt. I mean, everybody said he didn't have a shot in that fight, and he just goes out there and he fights. I mean, that said, I don't think I'm going to be putting a bet down on Chael Sonnen. I don't like his chances, but I mean, he is one of those guys that he's just going to keep getting in your face, and you're going to have to make him stop. And I think we saw a little bit of that with the training partner that Anderson Silva had working with him during the open workout. He had a guy kind of bullying him around, getting right in his face. He was staying up against the cage and sticking and moving. It seems like that's the fight he's prepared for. But I think that in the end, it makes for an entertaining fight. You need somebody who's going to get in Anderson Silva's face and is going to push him. And I think that's exactly what Chael Sonnen can do.
So safe to assume that you are expecting to see the Anderson Silva who, say, fought Forrest Griffin, as opposed to the Anderson Silva who fought, say, Damian Maia?
Instead of that one, I would say I'm expecting more of the Anderson Silva who fought Dan Henderson. Because I think the fighting style-wise, they're a little more similar. And, he got taken down, he got roughed up a little bit, but I think maybe it'll take him a couple minutes to figure out Sonnen's fighting style and to figure out exactly what he needs to do to beat him. But I don't think it'll take him as long as it took him to figure out Dan Henderson. And I think he'll figure it out.
Is this thing on? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the pre-funk of Anderson Silva's retirement party, hosted by yours truly tomorrow night.
Do you feel as though if you had just one more minute, you could have won this fight?
Yeah, sure. I'm devastated. I came in second. I worked hard and did what I could do and all of that nice stuff. But at the end of the day, you either get your hand raised or you don't. And I didn't. And that's it. And I'll live with it. But I'm devastated.
O que você falou para ele no final da luta?
Falei nada, agradeci, que Deus abençoe a ele, a todos nós aqui. É nosso trabalho e a gente está aqui para fazer nosso trabalho, nada mais além disso. Ele foi muito bem, mostrou que veio preparado e lutou muito bem.
Go ahead, Ed. You lost it. Chael, what did she say?
What he said was, I'd like to do the reality show with Chael. I'll work on my English. We will carry the ratings, and we will do a rematch.
Ed, his is better than yours.
No, listen. Look, there's a camaraderie that comes with this sport that's inevitable. But fighting Anderson Silva is a lot like eating Chinese food, and 20 minutes after I do it, I'm going to want to do it again. Oh, well, look, I mean, there's no question. This sport isn't like any other. We've got world championships in basketball and in football, but in reality, those are just national championships. This sport's very unique. We scour planet Earth, and we came down to the two best guys. If you go look at the rankings tomorrow morning, we're still going to be the two best guys. So I don't apologize for anything. I'm not backing off my stance, and if I ever did, I would send myself a pink slip and move on in life. I have one goal. It's to be the world champion, and I am not backing off that goal because of tonight's decision.
And you say no regrets, but, the whole build-up, the whole thing, nothing at all you would have changed about it?
No, nothing at all. Well, unless it was to work even harder, unless it was to prepare even more. But, no, I'm not Dog the Bounty Hunter, and I don't issue apologies, and you're not going to be the first one to get one out of me.
How bitter is it to have it end that way after you went through, 4.5 rounds, to have it be that way as opposed to something else?
It's devastating. I can't sugarcoat it. My heart's broken. I came in with a silver medal. I wrestled for a world championship. I came in second. I fought in the WEC for a world championship. I came in second. Now I fought in the UFC. And again, I'm a runner-up, and it hurts really bad. I just can't put it any other way. And whether it was a submission or something else, he hit me hard. He hit, right off the bat, he kicked me in the stomach. I've never been kicked like that. But I don't allow myself to be hurt. I will walk through anything he does and go get stitched up at the end of the night. It's not my first time. But look, he's a good fighter, and he found a way to win, and that's what champions do.
And what the strategy was as the fight got closer, as opposed to just talking trash about Anderson, you kind of, expanded a little bit.
Well, when I go off, it's like a bomb, and anybody around me is going to get dirty, and that's the way that it goes. I don't offer an apology for any of that stuff, and these guys need to get thicker skin. And second off, everybody in the UFC should issue an apology except me. You stick a microphone in a guy's face, and he calls out anybody but the champion, and Joe Silva should fax him a pink slip right then. So I don't offer any apology. I'm never going to change. I'm going to go after number one, whoever it is. If it's Anderson, or I got to go up after the guys at 205, or going a diet and go after Jose Aldo. It doesn't matter. If you got the belt, I'm coming after you.
Are you going to second guess yourself for not stalling in the 5th round?
No, just the opposite. You get into a good position. Anderson actually stumbled in the 5th round. I was able to capitalize on it. And in order to keep him down, in order to secure that position, so the referee allows you to work, you got to work. You got to stay busy. I don't know how much time was left. I heard someone just reference that there was about 1 minute and 10 seconds. I didn't know that. And frankly, you even get lost in what round it is. He hit me real hard a couple of times. He kicked me real hard a couple of times. Get a little disoriented. You're just in the middle of a fist fight on the Saturday night. There's not a lot of thinking. A lot of people like to talk about strategy and thinking and blah, blah, blah. It's a fist fight in the middle of Oakland, California in a steel cage. There's a true camaraderie when you compete against somebody. I don't have ill will towards Anderson, and I don't wish him a bad life. But here's the truth. If the commissioner would sanction and Dana would move, I would fight him right now.